Welcome, my precious feasts. You are watching another year and episode of Count Raffula's Home Cooking. And I promise you, today's episode will be filled with soul. Last Halloween, if you were around, then you must have seen my previous episode of the Halloween special last year, which was the pumpkin oat bars. And if you have not seen it yet, I advise you at the end of this video to go watch that or click on the link above. We are still in fall, which is my favorite season of the year. Well, why? Because the sun goes down a lot sooner. I can come out and play a lot earlier than before. I had a chance to fly around the entire world, and I was able to go to Britain. And there I found the most delicious little thing called soul cakes. Soul cakes are little small round cakes that the British like to call soul cakes. But for me, I think it's more of a cookie. But hey, I do not want to make any enemies today, so we will stick with what they have, soul cake. The history of these little soul cakes are phenomenal. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna tell you a little story about them. These delicate treats are made during the All Hallows Tide, which includes Hallows Eve, All Saints' Day, and All Souls' Day. It's to commemorate the dead. Maybe me, but I'm alive, so the world is commemorating Count Raffula. But it is also to commemorate the saints and the martyrs and the faithful departed Christians. Traditionally, these cakes are referred to as souls and given to the children and the poor who go from door to door knocking with prayers, songs, and soul cakes in exchange. The children promise to pray for the souls of the deceased relatives of the giver of that soul cake during the month of November. In the Philippines and Portugal, they practice this tradition up to today. They drape themselves in white clothing to represent a soul. And that's how the trick-or-treat was originated. See, these treats are made for 31st of October through the 2nd of November. It all started when I can remember when I was a young little boy. The year was 1565. What a good year that was. I remember my mummy took me and threw me out the window and said, "Fly, fly, Count Raffula," and I did, and I enjoyed it. The memories. You might be wondering, what on earth is a soul cake? Because you probably have never heard of it before. Imagine this, if you will. You take a scone and you take a biscuit and you put them together and you end up with some soul. This is what a soul cake is. Parents, allow your children to participate in making these scrumptious, spice-tasty treats in the kitchen with you. Which brings me to having to talk to my assistant. I have Igor to help me prepare and get all the ingredients for me. Let me see. Igor! Igor, where are you, Igor?
Here, master.
You are back. There you are. You got all the ingredients that we need? Oh, what? They do not have raisins. Why not? We could... What? Well, we could take grapes. Did they have grapes? Because we could take grapes and dry them under the sun. Oh yeah, we can't dry them under the sun because I get a skin rash. It's okay, we don't want to do that. Oh, but you did get something else. We are going to substitute the raisins with something better. Cannot wait to see. Without further ado, if you're ready, I'm ready. It's time to make some souls. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Use an electric mixer and cream 12 tablespoons of butter and 3/4 cup of sugar together until smooth, fluffy, and pale like me. Beat in 3 egg yolks, but only one at a time. Sift on top of the butter mixture 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of allspice, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now all the ingredients we are using is all organic because the doctor did a physical on me and said I'm getting too old so I need to start eating healthier, so a little bit with organic. Now stir in enough milk. We used about 3 tablespoons to make the dough a little softer, similar to scones. Soul cakes are originally made with currants, but I am going to change this recipe because Igor could not find any dried raisins. But Igor's idea was to use something that resembles my favorite color, which is red. So we will be using dry cranberries to resemble red. And now I'm getting thirsty. Back to the show. Knead the dough well together. Roll it out on a flat surface using a rolling pin. And then use a biscuit or cookie cutter and place on top of a baking tray with parchment paper. Before placing this in the oven, go ahead and use a sharp knife and mark each cake with a cross going from edge to edge. Now place it in the oven for about 15 minutes or until golden brown. Cool on wire rack, and you can eat these delicious souls for up to 5 days. And here they are. Finally, I get to feast on one of these delicious, scrumptious little soul cakes. You can make a simple and lovely treat for afternoon tea time. And no soling is required for this one to enjoy. Leave the soling to me instead. The smell of this soul cake is like nothing I've ever smelled before. It has infused my entire castle. I can't wait to take a bite of this soul cake. The suspense is killing me! Because there are no preservatives, you can store this in a tight container for up to 5 days. Let's go ahead and dive in because I'm ready to sink my fangs into them. And here is to soling. The cinnamon and spices that we used very well together. It is exactly as described, like a scone that meets a biscuit. Soft yet a little bit crunchy. And I am so glad we use cranberries because raisins get stuck between my teeth. I don't like that. When I go to my victims, they say, "You smell like raisin breath." So a cranberry would be a little bit sweeter. That was so good. What? What now, Igor? Igor, every year you interrupt me while you see that I'm doing a show. You interrupt me. What? Oh, Frankie? Oh, Igor just informed me that Frankie just woke up. He's my new pet. His nickname, maybe you've never heard of him. His name is Frankenstein, but I must go attend him. Maybe we can introduce him to the new term, souling, and we'll go door to door and we'll get a scare out of people. I must attend Frankie right now, but for those of you who are here, do not forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, share with your friends and family, and that little bell that you see, click on that bell and you will be notified when my next scrumptious treats will be available for you to watch. And there's one more thing I forgot to mention. There is a very famous old song that goes way back in my childhood. It's called soul cake. It goes something like this. A soul cake, a soul cake. Please, good miss, this is a soul cake. An apple, a pear, a plum, or a cherry. Anything good to make us all merry. A soul cake, a soul cake. Misuse a soul cake. 1 for Peter and 2 for Paul. And 3 for him that made us all. And until next time,